Aye. Good evening and welcome to the February 8th, 2024 Town of Lake Luzerne Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Would you all please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the agenda this evening, we have a correction for the date of the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-9. We have public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-10, Terrence Dwyer, 69 Davern Drive, side yard setback variance for an addition to an existing building. We have reaffirmation of a vote for area variance 2023 AV-8, Kenneth and Amy Smuck, 22 Squire Circle, fence variance. Good side of fence is facing inward, not toward the neighboring property. We have acceptance of minutes from the zoning board meetings and new and old business. And with that, I will go to the first item. As I was reviewing the minutes from last month's meeting today, I noticed that it stated that the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-9 was going to be held on March 7th. And I contacted Chris to find out if I had actually said that, since he went through the tapes. He said, I did. That is incorrect. We do not have a zoning board of appeals meeting on March 7th. We have it on March 14th. So for the record, I would like to correct that the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-9, Renee Elliott, will be March 14th, not March 7th. And Renee Elliott has been notified and has responded to that. I just want to get that corrected for the record. And since I can't go to the public hearing because it's not 7:05 yet, I would like to go to item 3 then, which is reaffirm the vote for 2023 AV-8, Kenneth and Amy Smuck, 22 Squire Circle, fence variance, good side of fence is facing inward and not toward the neighboring property. And before we get into that, I would like to request a council confidential meeting. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have to ask everyone to just step out for a few minutes while we have this, and then we'll call you back in when we're done. Just wait in the hall.
Kenneth and Amy Smuck, 22 Squire Circle, fence variance, good side of fence facing inward, not toward the neighboring property.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call vote.
Please.
Matt,
No.
Rail,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Kayla.
Yes.
So we have 4 yes and 1 no. So
Correct.
motion carries.
Correct. Mr. and Mrs. Smuck, you're all good. And I don't need to do anything else, right?
I need you to just re-sign this and refile the second paper with it.
Please let me do it now before I forget.
Make sure we get it right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-10. Terrence Dwyer, 67 Davern Drive, side yard setback variance for an addition to an existing building. Karen, would you please read the public announcement?
Please take notice that pursuant to the zoning ordinance of the town of Lake Luzerne, the zoning board of appeals will conduct a public hearing on February 8th, 2024 at 7:05 PM at the regularly scheduled meeting. The meeting will be held at the Municipal Complex, 539 Lake Avenue, Town of Lake Luzerne, to hear comments on the following: area variance 2023 AV-10, applicant owner Terrence Dwyer, parcel number 305.8-1-27, Hamlet Residential Zone, HR 0.23 acres, location 67 Davern Drive. The applicant has applied for a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals for relief from the zoning ordinance of Lake Luzerne, Article 5, dimensional requirements, A, dimensional table. Side yard setback, a minimum of 10 feet is required. They're proposing a 1.2-foot setback for an attached carport to an existing structure. A copy of the application as well as other supporting documentation are in file with the Office of the Zoning Officer and may be reviewed by interested members of the public during normal business hours, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. All parties and interested citizens will be given an opportunity to be heard in respect to all proposed variants at the public hearing. Persons may respond by letter, email, appear in person, or by agent. Karen Putney, zoning officer, Town of Lake Luzerne, P O Box 370, 539 Lake Avenue, Lake Luzerne, New York, 12846, 518-696-2711, extension 4, Lake Luzerne 4 at albany.twcbc.com, published January 30th, 2024. Have we opened the public hearing?
Not
No.
yet.
Okay. Because I do have a response, but I won't do that until the public hearing is open.
With that, I will open the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-10 Terrence Dwyer, 67 Davern Drive, side yard setback variance for an addition to an existing building.
Okay, I had one gentleman come into the office and look through the file, but he just had questions. He made no comments when he left, and when he left, I told him if he wanted to make any comments, he could send it by email, letter, or come to the meeting, and he is not here tonight. The other, I did receive one email. It was from Karen Gillis. It was sent on Monday, February 5th. In regards to the proposed variance for parcel 305.8-1-27 Hamlet Residential Zone, 0.23 acres, location 67 Davern Drive, owner Terrence Dwyer. I am writing to voice my approval for the 1.2-foot setback for the attached carport variance for Terrence Dwyer. Sincerely, Mrs. Karen Gills, Gilles. I don't know if it's Gillis or Gills, 64 Davern Drive. And that's the only one I have.
Thank you. I understand this is seeker exempt. There's no significant inter-community or countywide impact in regard to referral to county planning. I see that there is a jurisdictional letter from the APA here. Which states that it is not an issue. Karen, anything additional? Am I missing something?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Anyone in the audience have anything to say other than the applicants? With that, I will close the public hearing. Mr. Dwyer, please come up to the podium. Good evening. Please, tell us what you want to do, why you want to do it, and why there are no other solutions.
So more than 3 times a year, the property is underwater because where it's situated in the left side of the barn. If you're looking at it from the street, is the highest point where I could keep, the kayaks, canoes, boat, firewood. Otherwise, everything floats away. And it was just the highest point of the property. Otherwise, the barn itself is usually got typically 6 waters on the floor inside around the property. And otherwise, I can't really use the property. So it was the one spot and I guess there's some type of easement. So when the river backs up, it comes behind all the properties and pulls up right on the side of my property. So like there's a deep pit there, probably 8 feet deep. So what I did was I started, my neighbor brought a couple of truckloads of sand to shore up the side of the building because it was undermining the foundation a little bit. So I wanted to keep the water off, so it stayed off the property line. I started a wall and it just was washing away. So I connected it to the building to help hold that up and it became a carport. But otherwise, the rest of the property, I got 12 to, some parts it's almost up to my knees, 3 feet deep. So that was my, I should have been more thorough and came to the town before I started, and it's on me.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Dwyer as to what he is trying to do? All right, I'd like to go through the application. Starting with page 2, brief history of the property. Old barn used for storage, property has been family owned for 25 years. Description of the proposed action. Carport is too close to property line, need variance because setback is 10 feet and the structure is 1 foot from the property line. And go through the 5 areas that we look at when we're looking at area variances. Question number 1. Describe how the requested variance will not alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact adjacent structures. In response, this structure looks like part of the structure and is built with similar materials. I've seen the structure. I can't say I'm impressed by the structure. Did you design the structure?
No, it was just the add-on, but the structure has been there. We bought the property.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the carport which you would like to build, because when we look at this, we are not allowed to take into consideration the fact that it already exists. It's as if you came to us with a proposal and we were looking at your proposal, the carport does not exist.
Okay.
So my question is, who is designing this carport? Who is determining what the structural requirements are? How it meets snow loading?
Yes, I have some background in that area. I did all the design myself. 16 on centers, it's a typical code. I used the right size lumber. I overbuilt on the footings. I overbuilt on, I got 4-inch steel pipe holding up. I overbuilt. I'm sure if Mr. McKinney from the county came over and saw, we had a conversation, sure it would be okay, but I'm not a professional. Just, I have enough background where I felt comfortable.
Okay. Rail?
I don't think we're supposed to really look at the design of it or whatnot. I think that goes to the county. But I believe the question is answered.
Question is do you agree with
Right.
the answer? What you're looking at? And I don't mean to over talk you, Matt. What you're trying to determine in this number 1 is it going to alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact the neighboring properties, adjacent properties?
And I drove down through there. There's a lot of random things built down through there over the years. In my opinion, it does not affect the neighborhood.
I agree that there are a lot of random structures on that street.
Yep.
That does not mean I believe that we should approve an additional random structure on the street.
That's okay, and most stuff on that street is temporary, because in a year or 2, it can be gone. So that's the way I'm looking at that area down through there.
Okay. Burgess?
I don't know if I can add, this would have to be inspected anyway.
Yes.
to make sure it's a
Yes.
code and the
If
right
he,
pitch.
if he is granted the variance, his next step is we will issue him a land use permit here saying that he's met all the zoning requirements, and then he has to take his design onto the county and get a permit there. They, as Rail said, they will review the structural components of it. Is it built
Okay,
to code, et cetera?
then the answer is that if it was built with the same material, it does not have a significant neighborhood.
Yeah, we can't really look at.
We can't look at what's
for
already built.
example, This is like 4-inch conduit. We can't look at that or take that into.
Or the
account.
snow load and the pitch, right?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
building.
That's not ours.
Mike?
Yeah, if it's built
I
with the
can
same
throw- I can
materials
just
as
throw
the
this away.
barn, it doesn't alter the characteristics, the larger characteristics of the neighborhood.
Kayla?
I agree, it doesn't alter the characteristics of the neighborhood.
Thank you. Question number 2, describe what alternatives have been explored to achieve a solution other than a variance. Response is the entire property is underwater in the spring thaw. The carports around the barn and the areas they cover are the last to get wet. I'm not sure how, I understand your concern about the elevation, the ponding on the south side of the building. I don't understand how a carport is going to keep anything from getting wet. And I don't see that any alternatives have been explored to achieve a solution other than variance. Rail?
As far as the setback requirements, no, there's no other. I don't see where you've explored any other. You're pigeonholed there. You haven't explored any other because there are no other on that side.
Yeah, I had taken a permit, I wanted to put one on all 3 sides. And is that against the barn is really the highest part, everything else is pitches down. And I couldn't possibly build anything over there without, putting an 8-foot foundation in.
And everything is tight down through there. I mean, you can look at the house on the map. The house is 3.8 feet from the line. On the other side of the road.
On the other side of the road.
The tight area. Quite temporary.
Burgess?
I believe he answered it to the best of his ability. But he hasn't, investigated other properties because he can't. There are other ways, solutions.
Well, there are other solutions on the south side of the building, which would be more costly because you would have to elevate it if the concern is flooding, but there are other solutions which have not been taken into consideration.
Yep, point taken.
Anything else? Mike?
I feel the question explains the issue, but doesn't necessarily, the answer doesn't go into finding any alternatives. For different ways to go about this.
Kayla?
I don't believe any other alternatives have been addressed either.
Thank you. Question number 3, explain whether this requested variance is substantial. The response is, I've tried stacking firewood away from the barn, only to have it washed away. Same goes for boats and kayaks. The requirement is 10 feet. The requested variance is 1.2 feet. That is very substantial in my opinion. Rail?
It's a very substantial variance. In another aspect of the way looking at your answer there, when you're talking about firewood being locked away, I could see where if you were to put stuff on the other side, the current of the river is gonna take it, at least if it's on this side, it'll hit the garage.
I have pictures from 3 weeks ago. And my neighbors are all driving around picking up my firewood,
Yeah,
and it's just,
but it is a substantial variance.
yes.
I'd agree. It's a substantial variance.
Mike,
Yep, I agree. That's a substantial variance.
Kayla?
I agree, substantial variance.
Question number 4, describe how the requested variance will not have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. The response is houses have similar structures. All neighbors are friendly and actually lend a hand in the build. I do not believe that the requested variance will have an adverse impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Having seen the structure, I do not think the fact that the statement most houses have similar structures is of significance, or that the neighbors were friendly and actually lent a hand in the build. That really has nothing to do with the question as to whether to have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Rail.
I don't see any negative impacts on the neighborhood or anything like that. You answered the question to the best of your ability, but I don't see any impacts.
Burgess.
I agree. He's answered it and there's no impact on physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood.
Mike.
I agree. Questions are answered. No adverse impact on the neighborhood.
Kayla.
I agree, no impact. The question is answered.
Question number 5, describe how the requested variance is not a self-created difficulty. Because the property floods, I found that keeping things close to the barn is the best way to protect things that can float away. The variance is absolutely a self-created difficulty. Rail.
Yes, it's a self-created difficulty. Almost every variance is.
I
Burgess.
concur. Almost every variance is self-created.
Mike.
Somebody built it there. It's been flooding for a million years.
Yeah, every variance is a self-created difficulty, so questions answered.
Kayla.
Self-created.
Anyone have any other questions? I make a motion to accept area variance. Gotta get the right one. Two zero two three AV 10. Terrence Dwyer, parcel number 305.8-1-27. Location 67 Davern Drive, side yard setback variance, 10-foot minimum requiring proposing 1.2 feet.
Second that.
Please.
Matt,
No.
Rail,
Yes.
Burgess,
No.
No.
Yes.
no,
Correct. Motion to deny area variance 2023 AV 10. 67 Davern Drive, side yard setback variance, 10-foot minimum required, proposing 1.2 feet.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I second it.
full vote,
Please.
Matt,
Yes.
No.
Burgess,
Yes.
Yes.
Kayla,
No.
yes, no, so carried.
Mr. Dwyer, you need to meet with our zoning enforcement officer to discuss what corrective actions you're going to take to rectify this situation.
I'll be in Monday. I don't know when you're in the area.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll call you and we'll set up a meeting.
all right, because I don't work on Fridays. Okay,
Okay,
all right.
that it?
That's it, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is accepting the minutes from the zoning board meeting. I know Chris has sent out the minutes. Everyone had a chance to see them. The January minutes. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hearing none, carried.
And the last item is new and old business. Do we have any new business that we would need to move into any new information? Nothing? Okay, thank you. Well, that's what, that made it easy. New business, if anyone knows anyone who's interested in the alternate position on the zoning board of appeals, I would greatly appreciate it if you could contact them and get them to send a letter of interest to the town board. Town clerk, yes, to be forwarded to the town board. I know it's advertised on the webpage.
Yeah, it has been advertised and it said they were accepting responses through January 31st. So we've got to change that. We talked about that at Tuesday night's meeting. And so we're going to change it and leave it open, but we didn't get any responses. So if anybody does know anyone, Matt is absolutely correct.
Didn't we have two when Kayla joined?
We have two alternates for the planning board,
Oh.
but we only have one alternate for the zoning board.
I would love to have two alternates for the zoning.
I thought we had two applications when Kayla joined us.
We did,
We
but
did.
For both planning and zoning cannot be on both.
you
No.
can't be on both. Well, no, you can't be on both.
And Rail, I know from the zoning board, from the zoning and planning conference that your nephew, your sister said that your nephew had an interest.
I talked to them first, yeah. Or
Uh,
before you threw anything out, I talked.
No, I just wanted to ask the question, Tony's concern was that, was there a conflict of interest because Rail was on the zoning board? I don't see a conflict of interest. I just wanted to, so you have that bit of information now. No, I'm not gonna talk to him.
I stay out of it.
Yeah, there's no conflict of interest.
That was a lot. Does anyone have anything else? Karen, do you have anything?
I do not have anything.
You made the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I heard anyone be opposed.